I hope you had a great week. Happy Friday, and welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Today, I'm going to be showing you the Center Step Fun Fold card. A week ago, last Friday, I showed you the Side Step Fun Fold card. And that demonstration, with all the information, photos, etc., has been posted to my blog yesterday. So if you missed that or you did see it and you want to go back and get the details, you can find that at www.stampinpeace.com. That's my blog. And so today is kind of an alternate of that, the Center Step card. And with that, when I show you how to make this, I'm going to be using some of our newest products. The Eden's Garden Bundle, wonderful stamp set with some wonderful dies. And this bundle will be in our January to June mini catalog. However, the next three products I'm going to show you will not be. These are available only while supplies last. And the first one is the Eden's Garden Designer Series paper. Some nice botanical prints on one side and some different patterns on the back side. So definitely something you can use year round, but this is while supplies last only. The colors in it are evening evergreen, soft succulent, and a metallic gold. Very, very pretty. We also have a package of cotton paper. One side is kind of sleek and the other has a very subtle texture to it. Comes in evening evergreen and soft succulent. You get 5 sheets of each. These two, or this product also, is available while supplies last only. So if you love paper, please don't wait. I don't hate to see you be disappointed later. And then finally, we have the beautiful garden gems. Okay. And these two, we have been told, are available while supplies last only. So these are the products I'm working with today, just because I wanted you to be able to see them. While this bundle will be in that January-June mini catalog, you can buy it right now. You can buy it this month, along with those papers and embellishments. So I'm going to flip my camera around now, and we'll get started on the Center Step Fun Fold demonstration. While I'm doing that, please share this live video and invite others to join us on this Friday afternoon. Oh, Michelle says, thank you, yippee, she won a card. Okay, how about if I show you a couple of examples of the Center Step card first. So here's the first one I made, again, featuring the, I'll show it to you different angles, featuring the Eden's Garden products. And then here's the second one. I think I actually prefer the second one a little bit more. But we're going to make one of these right now, and I'll give you some tips on making this, as well as some different ways you can decorate it and such. So when this is folded, and it will fit in our standard size envelope, because it is 4 1/4 inches across and 5.5 inches long. So the finished card is standard size and will fit into our medium envelopes. You're going to start with a 5.5 by 8.5 inch card base, just like we usually do. And then you're going to, I'm trying to get this out right. You're going to have the 5.5 inch side at the top, and you are going to put the left edge at 1 1/4 inch. And we're going to be making 2 slits down the center of this. So to do that, we need to put our cutting blade right at 1 inch. And please remember, let me lift this up. Please remember, we have that groove on both sides of that plastic holder of our blade. So when I start at 1 inch, I want to make sure that little groove, that line, is lined up with the 1 inch on my ruler. And then I'll slide it down and cut to the 5 1/4 inch mark, again lining up those edges or those lines. So you're going to start at 1 1/4 inches off to the left side, and then you're going to put your blade at 1 inch. I like to put it in place first. Whoops. And then put the cutting guard down and push on it. And then move it slowly until I see I'm at the 5 1/4 inch mark. So I have that first slit now. Now I'm going to slide this down to the 4 1/4 inch mark. My left edge is now at 4 1/4, and I'm going to make the same size slit or cut line. So I'm starting at 1 inch, push the blade down, and I'm going to finish right at 1 1/4 inch. My lines on the handle of the cutting blade and on the ruler both line up at 5 1/4. So now I have these 2 slits. At this point, turn your cardstock to the landscape or horizontal position. And you can see here's a larger uncut space and a smaller uncut space. You want this smaller uncut space to be on the left. And then we're going to score. So I'm going to move that cutting blade out of the way. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit. I'm going to put the left end of my cardstock at 1 inch. And this time when I score, I want to go from the outer edge to the cut line on both sides, each outer edge to each cut line. Need to switch to my left hand, which I'm not left-handed at all, but I want you to be able to see. And again, okay. And you can move this freely without it scoring. So it's easy to press down, score to the 1 1/4 inch mark, let it loose, slide it, and then lay it down again and score at the bottom. Okay, can you see that? I'm going to do the same thing at the 2 inch mark. Score from the outer edge to the cut line. Remember, when you're going over the middle, kind of just let it glide over, slide over, don't press. And then I'm going to do the same thing at 5 1/4 inches, which ends up being the very end of the cut lines. All right, so I did that at 1 inch, 2 inch, 5 1/4 inches. Now I'm going to put my left edge at 4 1/4 inches, 4 1/4, and I want to score just on the inside of the cut lines, not on the outer portions, just in the center. So I'm going to bring my scoring blade down till it's in the center, and I'll just go back and forth in the center. All right, so I have 3 score lines, bottom outside, 3 score lines top outside, and 1 at 4 1/4 right down that center panel between the cut lines. All right. So now we're going to do some folding. The first ones at 1 inch are going to fold up. The 2-inch lines are going to fold down. And then the other 3 all fold up. So when you have it like that, go ahead and close the whole thing, whole card base, and score, or burnish, I should say, all those score lines very well. And that's what you have. So that's your card base. I'm going to show it to you at different angles. Here's from the front, from the top. This is what the sides look like. Okay. Now we're ready to add some designer series paper and do some stamping as well. So let me pull some of these papers. I'm trying to think what I used. I'll use this one with the Evening Evergreen. And we can use any of the patterns on the back as well. I think that I'm going to, this is kind of big for the size I'm doing. That one? Let's do this one. So I need 2 pieces that are 3 inch by 1 inch for each of those sides. And if your paper is directional, you do want to pay attention to that, okay? You got to think, if it's directional, you want to think about which way you need to be cutting, which direction. So there's a 1 inch piece, and then another 1 inch piece. And then along the bottom here, I need a piece that measures 3/4 inch by 5 1/4. Okay, 3/4 inch by 5 1/4. Just like that. And you can mix and match any of the patterns and images on the different DSPs. You can flip some over if you like. You can do whatever you want. It's your card, your creation, your design. So mix and match as much as you want. And then you can go ahead and adhere these to your card base. Hi there, Susan, all the way from Alaska. And I do like to lay my card base flat when I'm adhering all these pieces. Okay, so this is what I have so far with that center step. Alrighty. Now in here, you have a choice. You could do some white cardstock and stamping, or you can add some designer series paper in there and maybe fill in with stamping or a sentiment as I did here. But we're going to go ahead and do some stamping, and we'll do a little bit of an embossing with that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do on this, and this measures 3 inches, let me think about this, 3 inches by 2 3/4, 3 inches by 2 3/4. So it sits on that part that stands up. So it kind of becomes a focal point, okay? Hi, Kathy and Barbara. I'm glad you're here. I was looking for my scrap paper. I don't know what I did with that. Oh, here, this can be my scrap paper. The first thing I'm going to do is actually stamp with this. Let me make sure I have everything, the directions I want. Okay, so I'm going to stamp some leaves in soft succulent on each of the corners, each of the opposite corners. And then I'm going to close that up. Then I'm going to stamp with my Versamark. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, sending hugs, in the center, and then I'll stamp these little leaves and berries also. And we're actually going to emboss this with gold powder. So I'm going to go over this with my embossing buddy. A great little thing. We don't sell the embossing buddies anymore with Stampin' Up, but you can buy them on Amazon. And it's just meant for you to rub over your paper or cardstock so that you get rid of the static and you aren't leaving any of the gold powder in places where you don't want it, okay? So I'm going to stamp my sentiment first. And then I'm going to stamp the small leaves and berries. You want to be careful not to touch where you stamped. It can be hard to see since it's actually clear. But just remember the corners where you did not stamp. And then you can add your gold embossing powder. Make sure you cover those areas really well. Okay. Well, that looks good. I just like to do a double check and make sure I have any excess powder off. And then you're just going to heat it with your heat tool. Just kind of leave your heat tool in place, maybe 1.5 inches or so away from the paper. And once you see it, the powder melting like it is now, then just move it slowly along those areas. Until all of the powder has melted. And you can tell it's melted because it has that glossy look to it. Oh, awesome. I'll tell you, I never get tired of heat embossing. There's just something about it. I feel like it's magic every single time. Now I'm going to adhere this to that front space. Just like that. I have a piece of 4" by 2 3/4 inch to go inside here. All right. Now, if you want, you could always fill this in with designer series paper if you like. You could even stamp on the edges a little bit. For example, where's that scrap paper? For example, do something like this. Maybe even up here. You know, just something to decorate the inside, make it a little bit fancier. And then you still have plenty of room to write a simple message. But I think that's very pretty. But I do think it needs a little bit of bling to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a ribbon to it, a bow. Now, on my first one, I used gold. You tell me, I'll let you guys decide, whoever responds first. Should I do a soft succulent bow, or should I do the gold bow? I pulled out Evening Evergreen too, but I think that's just a little bit too much, a little too harsh on this one. So you tell me, which is your preference? The gold or the soft succulent? Barbara Baker, thank you so much. I am so happy to hear that you enjoy my channel, Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. Okay, I said I'd go with the first one, and I believe that first one was soft succulent. Either one would work very well. Really just a matter of personal preference. Some of you might even like that bolder Evening Evergreen on there, but for my taste, I think it's just a little too much for this print. Just make a pretty bow there. Whoops. And definitely, whoever receives this card, if I send it to somebody, well, one of you will receive this, but the other centerfold cards that I make and send, I'm sure whoever gets them is going to be like, wow. And it's just fun, a neat, fun card to show off a little bit. Now, a fun embellishment to add to this would be our gold gilded gems. And let me pull some of those out. So we have gold gilded gems, which definitely would go nicely here. But then we also have the beautiful garden gems that coordinate. So thoughts? Should we go with the garden gems since they're new and we really haven't used them in a live before? But certainly anything with gold, even the in color jewels would work, because those come in soft succulent and evening evergreen and would be very pretty. And on my first card, I put these, and what is this shape called? Marquee? Put one on either end of the front. I'm not really sure what I want to do with these. This is a different shape for me, so I'm not really sure what I want to do with these. Should I just do the same thing? I think so. I'll have to play around with this shape. This is just a very different shape of embellishment, and I like it because it's different and it's new, but I have to say it's a little bit of a challenge for me to know how I want to use it. I keep thinking I want one up here, but I don't know. Does it really go? I'm not so sure. Oh, we can leave it there. I think that's okay. All right, what do you think? Do you like the Center Step Fun Fold card? And would you like me to make another one so that somebody else can also receive one of these? What are your thoughts? Oh gosh, only 10 people on here today. People must be awfully busy this week. Kathy says, very pretty. You know, it really is. And it's not that hard to make. As long as you know, follow my cutting and scoring directions, the rest is easy. The rest is easy. And honestly, if you make this a time or two, you'll find it easy. Just keep the measurements for your cutting and scoring handy for yourself. Should we make one more? Oh, Lori, I love you back. I'm glad you're here too. All right, let's make one more just because they're so pretty and fun and very different. So this time, let's use an evening evergreen base, and then we'll choose a different designer series paper to go with it. So remember, our base is 5.5 by 8.5. I'm going to put the left edge at 1.25 inches, and then I'm going to cut from 1 inch down to 5.25. So I'm going to line up my blade, that center line, with the 1 inch mark on the ruler of my paper trimmer. I'm going to give it a push down and then cut to 5.25. Again, I'm lining up that little groove with the line, the 5.25 line on the ruler. Then I'm going to move this to 4.25, and I'm going to do the same thing. Cut from 1 inch down to 5.25. 1 inch down to 5.25. Push that cutting blade out of the way now and turn your cardstock to the landscape or horizontal position. Note that we want the small open space, not the large open space. We want this on the right. We want the small uncut space on the left. And you're going to remove that, put the left edge at 1 inch, and you're going to score from the outside to the cut line on each of the long sides. So go there. I need to switch so I'm not blocking your view. All right. And I'm just going to slide it across the center. I'm not pressing, so it's not going to score that center part. I'm going to push down again. And remember, these lines are 1.25 and 4.25. So it's real easy to line up the groove of your scoring blade with those marks. Okay, see how I did that? Top and bottom only, not in the center. I'm going to do this again at 2 inches. And then I'll do it at the bottom, also at 2 inches from the left. And then I'm going to do it at 5.25. Again, just the top and bottom. And this will be right at the end of those cut lines. So I'm going to score from the top edge to 1.25. I'll slide it down and score from 4.25 to the bottom edge. So I've got 1, 2, and 5.25 inches, 1, 2, 5.25 inches, all scored. Okay. Now I'm going to line up my left edge at 4.25, and I want to score in the center section only, between the two cut lines. So I'm going to take my scoring tool, scoring blade, and put it at 1.25. And I'm going to score down to 4.25. I'll just go over that to make sure I get a good score line. All right. Now the part where all the scoring lines are, that's your front. This open spot in the back is the back. This large open spot is the back of your card. So first, score lines on both sides get folded up. The ones at the 2 inch mark actually get folded down or folded in. And then the other 3 that are left all get folded up. So now you can see it coming together, but go ahead and close the card base and make sure to burnish all of those score lines very well. This is an important step with any fun fold card. It helps it stand up better at the end, and it also helps, what do I want to say? To fold nicely when it goes into an envelope, okay? Hey, Becky, I'm glad you joined us. Late or not, I'm glad you're here. And thanks so much for sharing also. So I have my base done. Let's go ahead and choose some Designer Series paper. This is the one we use, so I'm not gonna go with that one. Ooh, I like this one really well. With that, this one's kind of large. There's that. I used this on my sample card, a little bit of it on my sample card. I think I'm going to go with this one. All of them are beautiful, quite honestly. This is the back side of that. So if you were looking at my sample, this is where I took that strip from. The bottom of this one has that kind of ombre look to it. But I am going to start by cutting at 3 inches. Remember, if your paper is directional, you do want to pay attention to which direction you're cutting. So you make sure you have it going the correct way when you put it on your card, add it to your card. So we need 2 pieces that measure 3 inch by 1 inch. And then, oh, this is kind of fun for you could do this on the inside of the card. For the inside, if you're going across like this, you need a piece that's 3 inches by 5 1/4 if you want to fill in the whole thing. Of course, you could always do just a strip as well. I'm going to go ahead and cut this at 5 1/4. And, oops, let me see here. I have to think about this as I'm moving along here. So I could put this inside. I could do that on the outside. Ooh, that's kind of fun. So on the outside here, I need a strip that is 3/4 inches wide. So I'll let you tell me, should we do the print at that bottom? Or should we do the plain? So you put print or plain. And then of course I have my 2 pieces of white as well. Kathleen says, go with the print. All right, you got it, girl. You were first to respond, so we'll go with you. Oh, and Margaret agrees with you. Awesome. But again, either one would look good. Just a matter of personal preference. And I like to do that to show you just ways that you can mix and match and change things up if you want to add some variety. You're just so this is what it looks like now, closed. Okay. Now I'm thinking we could even put this on the center instead of the white. What do you think? Should we give that a try? Let's do that. So I know this piece in here needs to be 3 inches high by 2 3/4 wide. So let me cut this 3 inches by 2 3/4. And we could still stamp and emboss right on that. Okay, let's finish this off the same way as we did the sample and the card we just made together. The only thing I'm going to do different is switch to the evening evergreen corner. And you could use a border too. I think too, these, and I don't know if you can see it, but there are tiny little metallic gold dots in there. But I think something like this, you could even mat these pieces on gold before you adhere them to your card base. So lots of ways to mix and match, which I love. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, need that scrap again. By the way, when you stamp these, the leaves and everything are meant to be subtle. If you take a look at a close-up look at the stamp set, you can see it's kind of like textured in there. So the stamp image is meant to be kind of subtle images, not heavy and bold, okay? And then I was going to add some more this time. I don't know. It might be too much. All right, should we emboss again? I have a feeling you're going to say yes, so I'm just going to do it. So let's do some gold embossing again, using my embossing buddy, getting rid of any static. And then I will stamp with Versamark. I love this sentiment, sending hugs. First of all, I'm a big hugger. And it's just something nice to send for so many different reasons. Okay, see, got a little edge there, looks like. All right, and where's my little stamp here? Remember, since this ink is clear and difficult for you to see while you're working with it, you need to remember the two corners where you're not stamping or did not stamp. And that will help you avoid putting your finger in the Versamark ink. Okay. All right, I have in my little drawer here, embossing drawer, this little old makeup brush. So if I do get something there where I don't want it, that is because I was a little heavy on the edge of my stamp. So that's why I had that little line of embossing powder, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to remove that with my little makeup brush. Who knew you would need a little makeup brush in the craft room, right? Okay, and I am ready to heat that. Make sure you push your powder out of the way before so you don't have the heat tool on it. That would not be good. This doesn't blow the air hard, but it blows it enough that it would blow that powder in your container around. Yes, a small paintbrush works just well also, Joan. Barbara, I have a feeling you can do this. Just give it a couple of tries. And the nice thing about this is you can go refer back to my video as many times as you need to. You can stop it and pause it and do each step with me as we go along. So I have that now. I think that's pretty. I'm going to add that to the front center of my card. So really, the way you can mix and match and change up all these pieces gives you endless possibilities. I love, in case you don't already know, which most of you probably do know if you've been watching me for a while, I love to play with designer series papers. Now in here, I cut up that bigger piece I had, but I was thinking, oh, where's my other piece? Here it is. I don't know if I want to put anything there. It could be a small border, a small strip. Not sure I want to do that. I think I'd rather stamp, and I'll just stamp tone on tone again. So I'm using Evening Evergreen, and I'm just gonna stamp some leaves, just like that. And then I'm going to add the white in the center so we have something we can write our message on. And again, if you weren't here with me last Friday when I made the sidestep fun fold card, you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. It is on my blog today, stampinpiece.com. All right, stampinpiece.com if you want to see the centerfold or a sidestep fun fold card. And actually, I don't have it. Oh, I do have it down here. And it's really beautiful, if I do say so myself. So this was my sample that I showed for last Friday, fun fold demonstration. And then I made one more, and that's already gone out into the mail to a lucky winner. I don't remember who that was off the top of my head. So that is on my blog today. Full demonstrations start to finish. Sidestep card, stampinpiece.com. And then I will get this loaded to my blog in the next few days. Now we do need to finish this off with a little bling. Let me pull my ribbons in here. We've got the evergreen, the soft succulent, and the gold. So if you have a preference and you'd like to share that preference, let me know now. Oh, Becky, you're going to try the sidestep today. Yay! I hope you'll share it with me. I hope you'll take a picture and post it here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe. All right, Julie Heights says gold. We're going with the gold, girl. Right? Why not go for the gold? Makes me think of the Olympics coming up again. Winter Olympics. I think is it February, early February maybe? Oh look, we're all over the place. Gold, evening evergreen, soft succulent, evergreen. And again, any of these would work well. Any of these would work well. It's fun for me to get a little input from you all when you're watching. And sometimes some of you share things that I haven't thought of. So that's a great thing about sharing our craft. We learn from each other. And then it makes us all more creative. And if you don't have mini glue dots, you need them for the sole purpose of adhering bows. Just like that. It's so easy to adhere your bows if you just use one mini glue dot on the back of the knot. Oops, I kind of frayed that one. Let me see if I can fix it up a little bit. Okay. And we did the inside, so that is complete. So, who would like to win a card? Who would like to win a card? Yes, if you're just jumping on, please do watch from the beginning so you can get all of the cutting and scoring dimensions. I'm looking, oh, and yes, I think that was Julie that said that about the bows. Any of these open weave, soft succulent, evening evergreen bows, and also the gold ribbon, they make nice bows, but they don't create a lot of bulk in the envelope for when you're mailing them. All right? All of you want to win. Of course you do. If I had endless time, I'd make you sit here and we'd make one for everybody. That's funny. I know you all would like one. Anyways, oh, Carol, be sure that you message me your address because I have a card waiting to send to you and I don't have your address. I think I messaged you a while back, but maybe you missed it. Anyways, for today's comment, to be entered into the drawing to receive one of these 2 cards, how about type the word hugs? Hugs. And you know what? We didn't add the bling here. So if you're interested in receiving one of these cards, winning one of these cards, type the word hugs. I'm just going to place a few of these round jewels in here. On the other cards, we use those marquee-like gems. How's that? Who couldn't use a hug? Lynn, I so agree with you. Who couldn't use a hug? Yeah, doesn't it just change your day around when somebody gives you a hug or you're able to give somebody a hug? That's something I do a lot, and that's been hard over the last 2 years with the pandemic and everything. And I still try to ask people, if I haven't seen them in a long time, I still try to ask, is it okay if I give you a hug? And go from there. But anyways, thank you all, and virtual hugs to you. So thanks for joining me today for Fun Fold Friday, Facebook Live. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the centerfold card, and perhaps you'll take some time this weekend to make one, and be sure to share it too. Take a picture and post it here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe. We would all love to see what you do. Have a good weekend. I hope you're doing something fun or being around people you love and who love you. I am dog sitting for my granddogs. Andrea and John are, we live in Columbus, Ohio. They are going to Cincinnati for the Cleveland Indians Cincinnati Bengals football game. And they're going tomorrow. They're going to stay at Emily's apartment, which will be fun. And their dog sitter had to cancel on them. So I said, well, I would go over and stay with the dogs. But the good thing is I just got all of the cardstock and everything to start working on the save the date notices and wedding invitations. So I think I'll be working on those save the date things this weekend. So I'll be stamping. All right, have a good weekend. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.